if you could share again, if you could share exactly what you mean by the Google Drive and
Yeah.
how to place it within the Google Drive.
So to get your mind trained in creating systems for your company, and by the way, a system is a recipe for an action that you can repeat over and over again. Is knowing what is going to happen once you do this, what happens next. It's just a process that is recorded in a way that you can read that kind of process and replicate it. And so
And that's the key, the replication. That's
the
the key.
replication, exactly, and the capacity to delegate. So
Yes.
you start by having a Word document,
Mm-hmm.
and every time you write an email, whether you're initiating the email or you're responding to an email, you literally copy whatever you wrote and put it in this document. And you put a title like, this was a response to a podcast invitation, or response to a request for information on my services, or whatever it is. And you just put them there. You don't have to think much about it. That's what I did for about 3 years. Then when I hired my first assistant, I had this document where I had like response from a client who was going to be late, or response to like almost like anything. I had it there. And so when this assistant came on board, I said, look, here's a document with a lot of ways that I've responded to things. Read it and use it as a template. You should never need to write an email from scratch. Why was this important? Because all of a sudden I was able to onboard an assistant, and she was going to help me with managing all my emails and stuff. And immediately I knew that she was going to be able to kind of replicate my voice, my style, the way I respond to things. Obviously, everything had to be customized for the situation, but she had a lot of language to work with. And that allowed her to be a lot more confident, a lot less guessing, and get up and running within days. That's one example of a system.
And that is exactly, because you're able to replicate it. You're able to multiply, literally almost like cloning yourself, multiplying your voice, where the assistant was working with you, but what's happening, they're able to take that voice and replicate it. And so you sound the same. You position yourself, no matter where you are, online, offline, in the exact same pattern, in the exact same manner. So that is excellent. That's a great tip. How about when it comes to when you're onboarding clients and they are needing services? How do you work your system? How do you connect your clients to the system?
Meaning, how does my process work?
How is it with the process when it comes to a client coming on board?
Yeah. So when a client comes on board, what happens is there's a few steps that they take. First of all, we kind of audit their business and see, okay, where are you? And we have a few ways to do it. We have questionnaires and stuff like that. And we ask very specific questions that are pertaining to who is the client. So we do personality tests. All our clients need to take a personality test, because I need to know who the client is and how they're wired. Because running a business looks very different if you have this personality versus that personality. An introvert will run their business in a very different way than an extrovert. And if I don't know that, I might make them do things that are very uncomfortable to them, and they obviously won't do them, or they won't do it for long. So I want to align the strategy with who the person is. So we find out who they are through personality testing. We audit what they've done and all that they have as far as assets and materials. And then we get really clear on where they're going. We do all of that before they come to a meeting with me as their strategist. Once they come to a meeting with me, we kind of double check everything, and we hone in on where they're going, and I help them make a plan of action towards those goals. Exactly. Once that happens, I literally tag in the document, because we collaborate. I tag my team on the blueprint, if you want, or the plan of action.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then they meet with my team on a monthly basis privately to work the plan. They also come and meet.
And that's key, what you just mentioned, work the plan.
Work the
That's what
plan.
happens to a lot of our leaders and entrepreneurs. They have plans. Everyone has plans. But are you working the plan?
The plan, exactly. And so then on a monthly basis, they also come as a community with what we call clarity calls. And we come together as a community, and everybody is obviously working the plan. And so we come up and say, okay, what part of the plan is not working? And we share openly, and we all support each other, and I coach to make sure that anything that is a little challenging is ironed out so they can move forward.
I love it. So
all this is supported with a lot of technology.
Of course, right?
Of course.
And that's the beautiful thing, is that as we're building businesses, there are so many ways of, getting support and being held accountable. It's just a matter, like you said, but it starts with getting that clarity, getting that, because you can have all of the systems, but if you're not clear exactly what it is that you want to do, it doesn't matter of the systems, right? You still need to know what type of business that you want to build before anyone else can help you. Would you agree with that?
Exactly. You need to be in that space of knowing exactly where you're going, and then to work the plan.
And it happened to me, without the clarity, because I was that jack. They used to say jack of all trades. I was a Jacqueline of all trades. Yeah. We were, you become in the space of generalist versus specialist. Yes. And so there are businesses that would need for you to be a generalist, but I believe that, the more that you niche down and figure out what that message is, because you can be good at everything, and you want to give everything for free, but what is it that you can specialize in, and then be able to niche it down a little bit, a little bit short list as to the two, three, or even maybe no more than 5. Because I've seen people try to do like 20 million things. But what are the top 5 things? And then be able to maybe out of those 5 things, select 1 or 2, and then move forward in building your business. Yeah. And it's not like the 5 things are not available to you, but at least try to be successful with 1 and then go to the next one. But I think a lot of time we try to be successful with all 5. And I think that's where a lot of entrepreneurs, go wrong.
I always say you want to have a house with 1 main front door.
I love that.
You come to a house and there's 5 main front doors with a doorbell and everything. Well, how does anybody get in? They can't. They don't know which one to knock on, and it gets confusing and scary. So less is always more.
That's it. And so it's not like you won't have. It's just basically like the way you said it is perfect, because a person can be great with website, you can be great with advertisement, you can be great with social media, but what is the front door? Yeah. Maybe most of your entry, your primary focus is advertisement, and then later on you can help the client with websites, or your primary can be websites, and then you help them later on with advertisement. But do choose a front door. Do choose one. And then once they come into your house, right, they'll be able to select all the other 3 or 4 things, not 20 million, but the other specialties that you have that you can provide the client.
Exactly.
So if you are able to talk to your 18-year-old self, now that you've gone through this awesome journey of clarity as a person, right, as a woman, as a family member, as a community leader, as a business person, what would you share with the young Dolores?
I'm going to be very much on brand with you, Carla, and I would say stay inspired and trust the journey.
I love it. And that's key. It's to stay. That's the whole point of why I'm doing this.
Stay inspired and trust the process, because it's all gonna come It's all going to make sense one day.
Full circle. It comes full circle, doesn't it?
It does.
Because as in the more you do, and this is what I'm finding out, the more that you do, a lot of time those things do come back full circle, where you're able to use that skill set that you learned as a volunteer when you were 15,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
you learned as you were serving, in your business, and you helped the client, even though this, you might not have been paid for this part, but you might have been paid for the advertisement, and you helped your client with a website, only to find out later on, now you have a division that you help support websites. So it's a matter of taking action, staying, as I mentioned, purpose is a verb. It's taking the action. You have to do your purpose. You can't just think it out and say, well, today I'm going to be this. Yes, it's great to be that, but until you do it, you won't know. If you say, gosh, you know what, I thought I liked this, but I really don't. So let me try something else. And I've done that. Have that ever happened to you, where you say, you know what, I think I'm going to love to cook cupcakes. And then when you start cooking the cupcakes, you're like, I think I'm going to switch over to
It
cookies.
happens. It happens. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So any way that you would share, like if someone wanted to connect with you, Dolores, how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, the best way to get in touch with us is come to mastersinclarity.com, and you can click on the button on the top right and click start here and hop on a clarity call with us. It's complimentary.
Awesome. And if you had to share 3 words of how you would describe yourself, your journey, or what it is that you do, have you ever thought of like 3 words? I know it's so much to pack into 3 words, but
Yeah.
if 3 words came to you to kind of give you a capsule of what it is that you do or who you are, what would they be?
Clarity, integrity, elegance.
I love that. Wow. And the elegance of how you're creating businesses.
Yeah, the elegance in just how you're creating the business, and the elegance of how you show up, and the elegance of how you communicate, the elegance of and the empathy of how you navigate the world.
And so how would you say, if you had a purpose statement, how do you serve others?
I am the light that brings clarity.
Ah, I love that one. You help guide them into clarity.
Yep.
And clarity is being enlightened to what it is that you want to do, who you are,
And
or wherever you want to go.
yeah, and it's a clarity that with that clarity you'll take action, consistent, assertive action.
I love that. Have there ever been a question or something that you wish that those who are working with you, or those that you see are taking their journey as an entrepreneur, as a leader, that you wish they'd ask this question more? What
What
would
would
that
I do
question
for
be?
free all day long?
And then from there, help them get the clarity that they
Yeah,
need.
yeah,
It's a simple question, but it's a profound one, isn't it?
yeah. It can change your life.
Wow. Well, Dolores, this has been phenomenal. I am so thankful that you stopped by on your inspired journey,
Thank you.
and they're right outside my door again. I'm hoping this is the last cut. I mean, the grass is not that tall. You know what I mean? Wow. So they're still outside. But this is good. Anything else you want to add while we're here?
No, we're good.
It was good. It was very good. I think they're going to get a lot out of this. You're really going to brighten a lot of people's mind into what it is that they're missing, because a lot of times people are building businesses for just short terms, not realize you can't build a long-term business without the distance of creating the systems and the processes.
Yeah.
And they're right there. Oh my gosh. You don't hear it.
I
You
don't.
don't hear it at all. And I'm sure the mic is going to pick it because it's a Yeti. I have a Yeti. So it picks up everything. And actually, I'm going to change my mic because of that. What type of mic do you have?
I have a I don't know
The
what.
ATR? ATR. It
Yeah.
looks like an ATR. Yeah.
8
The Yeti picks up.
HD Pro. No, it's an AT 2000.
Okay, yeah, that's ATR.
Yeah.
You got it. So I wanted to ask the question again as to when it comes to an entrepreneur, when they're building their business, have there been a question that you wish that they asked more on how they're building their business?
Yes, and I always inspire and encourage my clients to ask themselves consistently what would they do for free all day long, because we change as we grow, and so you always want to be working on that makes you feel alive. So
I
what would
love
you
that.
do for free all day long?
Have you had someone ask you, what's the difference between vision and purpose or and mission? Have you had anyone ask you those type of questions?
Yes, yes, and yeah. That's a long answer. And I think that's an answer for our next podcast.
Yes, we'll leave that alone. And then, so I just wanted to tell you, Dolores, this was phenomenal. You are a light. Thank you so much for stopping by at Your Inspired Journey. I know our listeners are really going to take this information, be able to apply some of the tips that you've given them, and really start thinking about building a business, not just for a few months or a few years, but something sustainable, something long term, because the systems and the processes will be in place.
Thank you, Carla, for having me.
You're quite welcome. I truly, truly am grateful that you're here.
Thank you.
Well, everyone, thank you for joining Your Inspired Journey. I'm Carla Andrews, and of course, Dolores really gave us some golden nuggets to be able to apply not only in our lives, of clarifying what it is that we want to do in life, but be able to take that and however we want to share it with others, we can also build a business with it. So, yes, you can make a living while you're making a difference. Isn't that awesome?
Absolutely.
Until then, we'll see you soon.